Well, it is often a very good thing to find that the laws of demand and supply lead to markets clearing at market equilibrium, where the quantity that's being demanded is the same as the quantity that's being supplied at market price. But in real life, it does not always work out that demand and supply determine the market price. There are instances where markets do not clear. For instance, we would expect markets to clear very easily if, say, for some reason, the price of a particular good was above the market price, so it was somewhere there. And the signals there would be that would be high, the price would be high, and the signals to suppliers would be to produce more of particular goods or units of particular goods, so the quantity that would be supplied would increase, but because the prices have gone up, consumers would demand less of that particular good, because this is the law of demand, this is the law of supply. And then in that instance, we would find that more of a good is being supplied than is being demanded. And that would be excess, right? There would be excess supply of a particular good. In markets that are left alone, suppliers would not be stupid to allow themselves to produce excess of a good that is not being demanded or being bought in the market. So if this market was left alone, suppliers would realize that there is this waste, this excess supply of goods, and then they would produce less of that particular good up until the market is cleared, everything that they're supplying is being demanded and being consumed. But for some reason, sometimes it happens that there are other forces besides the market itself that lead to markets not clearing. So these forces not interacting and suppliers not getting the signal that there's excess of the good that they are supplying. So for instance, governments could intervene and set minimum wages in the labor market. And minimum wages, which are price floors, would determine that workers should be paid a particular price. And if that price, in the case of the labor market, the price of labor is wages. If wages are higher than market wages, the minimum wages are higher than market wages, we're going to have the same result from our market. And that would be that more of labor units would be supplied in the market than would be demanded. And again, that is going to lead into that excess. And in this case, the excess would be unemployment. If governments insist on minimum wages, then we're going to have levels of unemployment that are just chronic, that are just always there, because of various labor market policies that are in place. Well, besides minimum wages, there are also other policies that could lead to waste. For instance, in some instances, for instance in Zimbabwe, in the last 10 years, governments could intervene in the market and ensure that particular goods are sold at prices that are lower than market prices. And we call those prices the price ceilings, where governments would tell producers that they are not allowed to sell a particular product, and they can enforce that. So they can enforce the policy of making sure that particular goods are not sold at a particular price which is higher than the price that is being stipulated by government. So whilst that would be the market price, government would come in and say, this particular good, it must be sold at this particular price. In this case, we call that a price ceiling. So government sets a level through which the price should not go higher than that level. And just like it was the case in the case of the labor market that led to unemployment, you will find that for that particular good, for which government has decided on a price ceiling, that more, because the price is lower, more of that particular good will be demanded than suppliers would be willing to sell. So again, what is this going to lead to? It's going to lead to the market failing or being inefficient, where people want more. In the case of Zimbabwe, people want more of goods that don't exist, and then you find queues associated with this phenomenon. And so these are queues, long queues where people want products that don't exist. And instead of having a excess that we had here in the excess supply of a particular good or service, this side we have a shortage. So less is being supplied. Less is being supplied of that particular good. So we have a shortage there. And again, this is the same problem as the reverse or the other side of government interfering or intervening in the market and ensuring that the market does not clear, that the prices are not allowed to go up, so that less of that good is being demanded and that more of that good is being supplied, such that we are back at the market equilibrium, where market price ensures that the quantity that is being supplied equals to quantity that is being demanded. In this case, we have a quantity that is being demanded being greater than the quantity that is being supplied. In terms of excess in the labor market, we had the quantity that was being supplied being greater than the quantity that was being demanded. And both of these are instances of market failure.